One of the absolute most important characteristics the next head coach for the Arizona Cardinals must have: talent development. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. I am your host, Alex Clancy. Every day, we are talking about this damn team, and this is such a weird time. I did have they've been dissipating with I cannot believe that this is where we are with this team. Like those random thoughts, like, man, how did we get here? They're dissipating because it's very real now. It got very real very quickly after the firing of Jonathan Gannon. The Cardinals have a laundry list of requests of potential head coaching candidates that they're interviewing, including Jesse Minter today, DC of the Los Angeles Chargers, who was in Michigan with Will Johnson. So that's an interesting tie there. But there's a lot to discuss today. I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach. I promise I will go down the updated list of candidates that the Cardinals will interview, want to interview, or have interviewed up until this point. I will go down the next step of, what the Arizona Cardinals must be okay with during this search. And it has to do with the NFC West. We'll talk about that in the second segment. But the most important thing, unequivocally for me, outside of the normal head coaching things, leadership, all stuff like that, culture, whether it's it's an exacerbation of the current culture, using this as a springboard to make it more of a winning culture as opposed to just everybody love everybody like Jonathan Gannon brought in. Talent development, player development, talent development, player development. Because here's the thing. Monty Osford can draft well. On paper, by the metrics, Monty Osford hasn't been a terrible GM. Let's just say that. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt for that. We'll see what happens with Marv. We'll see what happens with D-Rob. We'll definitely see what happens with Max Melton. But, Trey Benson, if he can stay healthy. Tip Ryman's been a good addition, even though maybe he was a reach in the third round when the Cardinals had, 3 or 4 third-round picks that year. Player development, talent development has been something that both Cliff Kingsbury and Jonathan Gannon have lacked. And it's not something that is just, all head coaches are good at this. This is just a foundational piece of being a head coach in the NFL. It's not that simple. If you've got your CEO head coach, like Jonathan Gannon was, he didn't call the offense or defense, even though it technically was his offense, but it was Nick Rallis' language of the offense. Talent development should be the most important thing, the most important attribute to have as a coach. And that's something the Cardinals have severely lacked. So when I brought up Robert Saleh yesterday, I'm going to do a deep dive with Brian Peacock from Locked On 49ers tomorrow on Robert Saleh. The player development, the talent development, as built into his scheme on defense, has shown that he's been a guy who has been able to elevate the talent that he's got. And that comes with player development. Now, we'll see what happens with Nick Rallis, because he seemed to have been pretty good at that up until, the second part of last season. But that, as a head coach, as somebody who's going to have his hands in both sides of the ball, is going to have to be able to do that better than Cliff Kingsbury and Jonathan Gannon combined. And the thing is, talent development, while obviously important on both sides of the ball, naturally, smartest thing I've said all day, defensively, it's most important if you had to pick one or the other. Now, offensive line play, things like that. But for offensive players, it's mostly scheme. It's mostly play calling, scheme fit, and letting your skill position players go do their thing. Now, obviously, the OC, wide receivers coach, O-line coach, RB coach, QB coach, they all have their hands in player and talent and development. But when defense is predicated upon trust and instinct, the development is so much more necessary. And that's why, while everybody is going offense, it makes sense. Like the last 5, 6, 7 Super Bowl winners are all top 10 offenses. Like, I completely understand. And there's no rule against having a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. Like, you're allowed to do that. So just if you hire a defensive-minded head coach, doesn't mean you can't have a top 10 offense. But I just look at this defense and what it can be. And I feel like this is the anchor. I know you've got Trey. I know you've got Marvin. I know you've got Michael Wilson. Trey Benson, you'd think. But that's why I'm leaning defense, even though, offense is the key to victory from the head coach, position, strength-wise. Just as when I talk about the list in the final segment, you'll see a lot more defense than offense. And I think part of that has to do with guys who are available. And also, maybe where the Cardinals are leaning. I understand going with the trend a lot of the time works. That's very cliche and very general. I know that. But what we've witnessed over the last close to 10 years now is drafting very talented players and them not taking that Pro Bowl step in many accounts. You could even chalk this season up to injury. You saw Walter Nolan flash. You saw Will Johnson play pretty well in his rookie year. He was CB1 for a large chunk of the season with Garrett Williams on the shelf. You saw Cody Simon play, but I feel like the Cardinals have drafted too much talent to not have elevated to a level that we expected them to be, even last year. And it's easy to look back and say that now, I know. But when it comes down to what the Arizona Cardinals must do from a head coach perspective, irrespective of offensive or defensive minded, player and talent development must reign supreme. Monty Austinfort is the last person to blame for all of this. He's the last person to blame. And I know it's easy to be like, well, he's the last one left. Got to blame him. No GMs knock it out of the park 100 times out of 100. I don't think he expected Darius Robinson to be out for a large chunk of his rookie year with injury and then the personal matter with his mother passing away. I don't think that he expected Bija Ojulari to tear multiple ligaments and John Gaines to go down early. And, all of these things where it's like, nothing is perfect in this space. All you need to do is do more positive things than negative to your roster and to your team. Monty Austinfort has provided enough talent on this roster to where the coaches need to elevate it. And if you elevate this level of talent, plus a free agency, plus a draft, you could be cooking with gas right away in 2026, regardless of how tough the NFC West is. Player development, talent development, number one. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Is it okay if it's from the NFC West, though? When it comes to the coaches? Yes. Let me explain next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by something that makes my life very easy in ZocDoc. Finding a doctor you actually like can feel like discovering a diamond in the rough. You want someone in network, nearby, with availability, but you also want a doctor who really listens, makes you feel comfortable, explains things clearly, and helps you walk out feeling confident about your next step. Your diamond in the rough doctor exists, and finding them is easy with ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can choose someone you truly connect with. I love that you can search for specialty or symptoms and quickly find the right fit. You can check the verified patient reviews to get a real sense of the doctor's vibe and communication styles, and appointments usually happen within 24 to 72 hours, and they can even have same-day openings, which is massive for people who have to wait 2 weeks sometimes to get in and see their doctor. Stop putting off the doctor's appointments. Go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL to find and instantly book the doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this message. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is also brought to you by Ultimate QB Football Legend. The draft picks positions are set. Cardinals number 3, and so many teams are looking for their franchise quarterback. Ever wish to be a pro quarterback getting drafted first overall by the Arizona Cardinals? Well, now you can. There's a mobile game just for you called Ultimate QB Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats as a number 1 draft pick quarterback, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness to help turn a failing franchise into a dynasty. This is the number 1 QB career mode game on the mobile app stores, and it introduces the most realistic environment with full career control. Sign contracts, train and upgrade yourself, build chemistry, and evolve your teammates. Give input to your GM about roster moves. Play the actual game in 2D with rise through the ranks to become a pro football legend. Ultimate QB is totally free to play, has no ads, and works 100% offline. Perfect for when you want to sneak in a quick game or two on the go. Just head over to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com. Or search for Ultimate QB in your app store. And we got something special for you guys. Use a promo code LOCKEDON, all caps, in the game store to get a free boost at the start of your career. Ultimate QB Football GM. QB1. It's your legacy. Dang it. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. It's going to be a fun offseason. It's going to be a fun offseason. Selfishly, thank you, Michael Bidwell, for firing Jonathan Gannon. Selfishly, it helps be the bridge through the playoffs when you're watching all three other NFC West teams thrive. Yeah, it's nice to have something to talk about when you're the odd man out. Okay. I thought about this too, and got a bunch of comments about this. Thanks everybody who comments. Please continue. On TikTok also, Locked On Cardinals. I'm jumping in there. Social media team's fantastic. So I'm commenting on a lot of people's comments from my shorts and stuff over there. Some of the best coaches are in the NFC West, so who cares where it comes from? Like a lot of my comments are saying, well, why would Robert Saleh want to go in division? Why would Mike LaFleur want to go in division? Why would Clint Kubiak want to go in division? Clint Kubiak is the name that Dan Graziano from ESPN said would be his choice that the Arizona Cardinals would sign as head coach. Just a little side note. So several of the coaching candidates in the carousel this offseason come from the NFC West. 3 of the best head coaches are in the NFC West. 3 of the best organizations are in the NFC West. So it may seem incestuous or whatever, business-wise, who cares? Who cares? There's a couple things. So there's a couple benefits to it. One, you obviously get a great cheat sheet for that specific team that coach is coming from, which is good. Okay. Number 2, they also have a leg up on the other 2 teams, or the other 2 teams in the NFC West, not named the Arizona Cardinals. They also know the weaknesses of the Arizona Cardinals, whether it be on the offense or defensive side of the ball. Like, that is a cheat code coming from the Niners or the Rams or Seahawks to come and be the head coach for the Arizona Cardinals. So that's kind of the obvious part. The downside, I don't see one. You only play 6 games of your schedule against your division. Coordinators leave all the time, every year. Ask Sean McVay. They lose coordinators every year. Kyle Shanahan loses coordinators every year, every other year, whatever it is. Seattle's going to start losing coordinators pretty dang quickly. I mean, Clint Kubiak's gone. So just because the players may be by and large the same, and just because the head coach may be the same, that doesn't mean that defensive schemes are going to completely change. That doesn't mean that offensive schemes aren't going to completely change. It's just going to be team and team jersey and name only. So why the hell wouldn't you go take the best possible option, regardless of where that coach coached most recently? The benefits outweigh the negatives. I don't think there are any negatives, and I wouldn't say that if I were the 49ers looking for a coordinator, or the Seahawks looking for a coordinator. Talking about the Cardinals. The Cardinals need to take whoever they can get at the best possible option with the best player development capabilities. Doesn't matter where it comes from. And I know it's a little backwards. It's like, well, why would you want to share any of that? It just seems weird. It's very Steve Finley. Steve Finley, baseball player, notorious for playing with every team in the NL West, I think the divisions have shifted since he played. But anyways. Robert Saleh, Clint Kubiak, Mike LaFleur, whatever. It doesn't matter where they came from. And again, you want to get inside the head of Kyle Shanahan? Cool, you got a dude. You want to get inside the head of Sean McVay? Cool, you got a dude. Mike Macdonald? Cool, you got a dude. Now, come to think of it, there's quite literally zero downside to hiring a head coach who's been most recently a coordinator in the NFC West. Because let's think about it this way. The Cardinals are so far removed, coaching-wise, from the other three teams in the NFC West. They're not even going to get a seat at the table, regardless of who they hire. Unless for some reason they take a swing and get John Harbaugh or Mike McCarthy or Brian Daboll. I'm not putting Mike McCarthy at the level of those guys, but none of those guys are even rumored to be taking the Cardinals seriously. I know John Harbaugh, which we'll talk about in the next segment, had a phone interview with the Cardinals among 6 other teams. He had an informal sit down at the Mara household, the owner of the Giants. Informal. Cardinals, there's no way. And they shouldn't hire him anyways. See my show from last week. So when you have conversations with your buddies, when you have conversations with your family, we have conversations about the Arizona Cardinals coaching search as a whole, when the NFC West thing comes up, the only thing that could go against the Cardinals is that guy doesn't want to coach in that tough of a division, which makes sense. But also, pretty cool to live in Arizona. Sunny here, 350 days a year. Play golf. Do you want to take the Atlanta job with you don't know who the quarterback's going to be? And you're tied to so much money, and then, Michael Penix, when he comes back from his ACL, Cleveland. Most guys are priced out of talented priced out of Baltimore. Giants. That's not an easy division. I don't know. I feel like it's much ado about nothing, but it looks like a big deal just because those other three teams are so good right now. I think the Arizona Cardinals must take the most talented coordinator, former head coach, who wants to come here and be able to level up this talented roster, even though some quickly forget how much talent is on this roster. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. What's the current list? We'll run it down, and there's some interesting trends that I'll discuss. Locked On Cardinals, already said that. Your team, already said that. Every day, already said that. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. Divisional round is here, man. FanDuel's officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action, because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boost you want to apply. The boost lets you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. The boosts give you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make you bet, makes the bet feel bigger either and feel better also. You make your picks, then apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. YouTube channel, subscribe, please. Thank you, please. The list is long. The Arizona Cardinals list for potential head coaching candidates is long. Not potential candidates. Candidates for the potential hire. Anthony Weaver, Dolphins DC, Vance Joseph, Broncos DC, Clint Kubiak, Seahawks OC, Matt Nagy, Chiefs OC, Raheem Morris, ex-Falcons head coach, Robert Saleh, Patriots pass game coordinator Thomas Brown, Mike LaFleur, Rams OC Chris Shula, Rams DC, Packers DC Jeff Hafley, and Chargers DC Jesse Minner. If we notice, of those 11, and then, on top of John Harbaugh having that, cup of coffee with him, it's a far cry from the 12-hour serenading of Sean Payton a couple of years ago, where it's like you were watching like a presidential procession. It's like there were videos everywhere of them. Oh, they're going in this building, or they're going in this building, and then obviously use them for leverage to get the Broncos job, which is, feels good, feels fantastic. You'll notice 3 offensive guys out of 11. This could mean a couple things. One, the best candidates have defensive backgrounds, which is probably what it is. Every cycle is different. Not every time is there going to be just a Ben Johnson rolling around. So you take that with, they're interviewing the best candidates. Brian Daboll's out there. Mike McCarthy's out there, both offensive guys. Or you look and read what they're telling you, or what it looks like they're telling you up until this point. They're going defensive head coach. Now, there's conflicting reports all over the place. Dan Graziano, again, earlier today in an ESPN article, said Clint Kubiak. Vance Joseph, in some spots, is the odds-on favorite. A lot of the guys who they've requested interviews with are still coaching, which is kind of a good thing because it's not just one dude that they're waiting on, and all these other guys are going to get head coaching jobs. Like all of the NFC West teams, they're still playing. So this stuff's going to have to wait a little bit. The thing I'm struggling with most now is, what are you going to do at OC if you hire a defensive-minded guy? That's the tough part. That's the tough part. Because if you hire Clint Kubiak, you run his offense where you have a bona fide wide receiver one like we saw with JSN. You'd expect that to be Marv, could be Michael Wilson. They don't use A.J. Barner a lot. They ran the ball. It was kind of a weird offense, but they threw the ball down the field. That's for damn sure. They threw the ball down the field with Sam Darnold. And then you've got 2 competent backs. And I saw a fun fact for fantasy football players. Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker ended the season with the exact same average points per game, fantasy-wise. It was 10.1 or 10.2. So you've got an offense where you can run the ball effectively. Gray Zabel helps Seattle. And with the Cardinals, if it's Trey Benson, and we'll see if James Conner comes back or if he's done or whatever, like that is an offense that can work with this skill position group. But then what do you do in DC? Do you bring Nick Rallis back? Do you bring in another DC altogether? Then do you just sign, like for offensive coordinator, if he's not calling the plays, do you bring Thomas Brown in, the pass game coordinator for the Patriots, and have him be a first-time OC? Learn alongside Clint Kubiak, a first-time head coach? I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if it's fear. I don't know what it is. First-time head coach, again, terrifies me. And yes, every head coach at one time was a first-time head coach. Well, it's working for Ben Johnson. Well, it's working for all these other guys. Like, you're seeing multiple coaches get fired every 2 or 3 years because they were first-time head coach that didn't work. So hedging yourself a little bit, that's why I brought up Robert Saleh. Like, I know it's not perfect. This isn't going to be perfect. The Cardinals have the least enticing job out there, probably including Cleveland. Maybe not including Cleveland. Even like Deshaun Watson going to be starting quarterback next year? Barf. You've got to look and see what's possible. If John Harbaugh wanted to coach here, even though I think it would be a bad idea for the Cardinals to sign him, Michael Biddle's probably not going to pay him. I had to do that as an exercise late last week. Robert Saleh is gettable. He's gettable. Unless the Ravens want to sign him. If the Ravens want to hire him, yeah, go. The Arizona Cardinals need a shot of Robert Saleh into their organization. What he's done development-wise, the Cardinals haven't seen it. And even if he's just the guy for the next few years to get them to that next step, you can't be, oh, you got to find the guy that's going to take him to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's just like, the guy's not out there. So when you see this laundry list, 8 of 11 of the requests / already interviewed names are from the defensive side of the ball. Cardinals are hiding in plain sight. And that could be because there aren't great offensive minds that are up for head coaching gigs, or they want to make the defense the strength of this team. And with Kyler Murray gone, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? The only problem with that is finding a guy who can run this offense and make the most out of the guys that they've got. It's going to be tough. As we continue with all of this, obviously a lot more will become clear when the playoffs are over. But yeah, man, they've got options. They've just got to pick the right one. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.